Something that sells seascapes more than anything is a beautiful crashing wave that sports a transparent eye, sometimes of a single color, sometimes of multiple colors. Let me show you just how easy it is to add a crashing wave to your seascapes. What I've done is on our practice canvas here, I've just etched out an area here where we're going to put this little crashing wave. Now the first thing you need to do is draw a reference line. And I'm going to draw a second reference line. This is going to be the top of the wave, and this is the bottom of the wave. Now, once I've got the reference lines done, I'll just go ahead and reinforce this top so it's a little bit bigger. And I'll clean my brush, and then with a clean, dry brush, I'm going to come back here, and with that rocking stroke that we've been using for the sea, I'm going to go ahead and blend out the back edge. If you look at this line and you consider this to be the front edge and this the back edge, we want to leave that front edge alone. And again, these are just some reference, and this is just kind of pulling that wave away from the background and saying this is something different. This is a wave. This is not part of the sea. So as you can see now, the sea is gaining some depth and it's heading back that way. So let's just take our brush again and load up with a little bit of color again. And now I'm going to say, where's the dump? The dump is that water that's just like flowing over. So we'll just go ahead and give it, there it is, and then there it goes. This is the dump. This is where the water's coming over. Over here is where the eye is, and the eye will go above. So we've got the eye of the wave, and then we've got the dump part. Once we've got the dump defined, we want to go ahead and do the same thing. Take this brush, dry, clean brush, and using that Z stroke, that rocking stroke, see now how the wave is now all contained here. The water has risen up to this point, and it's coming over like that. And we'll just go ahead and blend on the other side as well. So there we have the rising star, if you will. Now I'm going to switch brushes to a nice brush that I call a filbert. There it is. This is a number 6 filbert. It's a bristle filbert, and they're again available from your favorite art store. And we'll come in here, and I've loaded up a bit of this blue and white. That's all I'm doing just for this practice, is using blue and white. And the reason I'm taking some time here is I want to make sure I have a good amount of paint loaded right here. So let's take a look at that. See that? Come right in here to the eye, right at the top. See how I'm just scrubbing that in there? Boy, I'll tell you, when I was young, my mother used to make me polish silverware all the time. I thought she was being mean, but didn't know she was training me to be an artist. I guess it's that wax on, wax off theory everybody's talking about. And then we just go out to the side. Now, once we've got that eye of that wave done, we want to blend that center. So I'll take a 2-inch brush. It could be a 1-inch brush. It could be any kind of a brush you'd like. And you want to be able to go ahead and blend that center. So I'm going straight in. Now, once I blend the center, I'll never come back to it as I stretch out to the outside area. The other thing is, notice the angle that I'm coming in, just so the tips of this brush is what makes contact. And see that? That little tiny circular motion. All I'm doing is blending that. I'm coming right down. Then I come over here. Now let's go to the left of that eye. I'm just going to bring the paint down. Because that water here is starting to curl up. So we'll just go ahead and help it. Just pull it straight down. Isn't that cool? So now we've got the eye. We've got the dump right in here. Let's go ahead and put that dump in. I'm going to go back to the fan brush right now, and with the fan brush, I'm going to go ahead and load it with some of the blue-white that we have, and I want to make sure that it's a very light color. A lot of times you want to match that color to what you have here on the eye. So we'll go over the eye. See, I told you I had C sounds. Come over here like this. I guess if it could also sound like a seagull at the same time, that'd be the perfect C sound. See that dump starting to fall over? When you make that stroke, think that there's a barrel right there, and you kind of got to go on the outside shape of that barrel. Let's do just one tiny more right here. Maybe one more, never enough. So now we have a beautiful little dump. Now all we have to do is add some foam beneath and over that. And so to do that, I'm going to get a little bit of alizarin crimson and some phthalo blue. It's about 8 parts of crimson to 1 part of phthalo blue. And I'll mix it in with a little bit of white. And you know something, you can use just about any kind of a color. When you're practicing, see that's the color I'm using. When you're practicing, you don't care what the color is. You just want something to show lights and dark. So don't worry about colors at this stage. Just worry about the technique. See how I'm just going around in a circle? I'm going to get a little bit brighter here in a second, but for right now, we're just going ahead. This is the dump that's crashing down and it's crashing up. And it's going somewhere else. Now let's load up again for just a little bit more here on the left side. And it just kind of goes ahead and smooths itself out. Now I'm going to take that big brush that I've been using for blending, and I'm going to go ahead and just blend the tips. With the tip of the brush, blend that wave as it came over the eye and on the back of the wave and then the dump. So we just blend that just to set in all that excess. Isn't that marvelous the way that's doing that? Now with all of that done, the next step that I want to do is go back to the filbert. And I'm going to put in some splash. Contrary to what most people think, your splash is not white. When the ocean is churning like this, there's a lot of seaweed, there's a lot of rocks, sand. Who knows, there might even be fish in there and maybe buried treasure, I don't know. But we do not want to have bright white there. We may want a bit of a lighter blue, which is what I'm doing right now. You see that right there? That block. I had to add a little bit more. Thought I had more on there. Whenever you're in doubt, just add a little more. Stroke I'm going to do is shoving up. Now when I shove up and I come back down, I'm going to leave that color. So let's start over the eye of the wave, come back down and up the splash. See my hand? I hope you can see it. I'll try to go this way. Coming back down. You see, I'm just highlighting the very edges. I'm not trying to make the whole thing white. We need to reload whenever you run out of paint. You've heard me say before, reload. The first rule of painting is you must have paint in order to paint. I know it sounds silly, but if you've been teaching a lot of the classes that I have, you would have heard that question. What do I do? I've run out of paint. With that done, I just want to go back to my large brush and very, very gently go ahead and bring the border together with that lavender gray and the splash that we have. Now, we want to do a little bit of a cleanup here on the eye of our wave, and then we'll be ready to do the final highlight. The eye of the wave starts to get a little messed up at this point in time. Let me point that out. See this? It's not a real sharp edge. And I want to have a nice sharp edge. So I'll just get a little bit of white paint with some blue in it, a little touch of blue, and I'll come right in here and I'll polish. Just blend it right in. Bring it over. See, I did what I just told you not to. Now you have an example, a live example of why you don't come back into that center after you've already blended in that white paint. Well, you know, there's no mistakes here. They are just learning lessons. So we'll just go ahead and take that out by just going ahead and reapplying new paint. Now I'm ready to blend. So I'm going to take this brush and starting right here in the center, little circles. And see how sharp that edge now is. It's like you can go forever into looking through the eye of that wave. Now I'll just take the same brush that I've been using. So I'm going to take a little bit of liquid white into some of that blue white that we have. And I'm just tapping loosely because now I want to put in the spray. Because when you have this that's going ahead and splashing over like this, you're going to get some spray. So again, at this angle, just put in a few spray drops. Maybe you have them over here and back here. Now we have to blend, of course, afterwards. That's the whole purpose of doing this. But at least with just the very edge, some of those sprays will stay intact. So now I want to blend a little bit. So I'm going to go back to the filbert brush that we use for polishing. And I'll just come down here and just go ahead and blend in each of these little speckles here. And they create additional layers of foam. Isn't that wonderful? Just go ahead and just blend them right in. All right, and they will create all kinds of movement on your water. Here, look at this. This water is just like slapping down. So since it's slapping down, the water is going to go backwards. So what a nice reflection. Go right over the beach from above. We have a practice canvas just showing you how to practice. Feel free to take a canvas and do a lot of different kinds of elements on it. Save them so that you can compare them. Then sell them, who knows? Call it the pallet's end or something. Just go ahead and work some of these out, blending them in, blending them in. And then we can even have just little bits of foam pattern just coming in. So with that, we've got a nice little eye that anyone would be proud to sport. I think you've seen how easy that just adding an eye, a wave with a special eye that's very colorful would add and complement your own seascape. So let's go ahead and just blend this a little bit more. I like blending. Just have to sometimes make sure you don't overblend. What I like to do right now is add some foam patterns. A lot of times, you know, this is a step that's least forgotten, but it's one of the most effective things you can do. With that, I'm going to take just a liner brush loaded with some gray color, because you have both the grays and the whites. We don't always see those grays. And they're coming down. You try to match the curl, and see how that foam pattern is just going all different directions. And again, it will use that X stroke. So there's a few. Now, foam patterns are not always gray or any one color. You can sit here, go all the way through. Now let's just add a little bit lighter color to what we've got going there. And you can see how the two work together. I typically like to use kind of a wandering or a backward 3. Just coming in. And that's really all there is to it. You just match the curve. And then you can always take a nice little brush and just blend that in. Don't forget your X strokes at the bottom. Then you can do this throughout your entire painting, both in the background waves, behind the major wave, in the front, all the way up to the foam pattern. But the thing that you really want to keep in mind is just make it a light little touch, and then you can just set it in afterwards. Isn't that wonderful?